How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you another Contest of Champions War video. We're up against Celestial Avengers. We did not win the last war, and it looks like we might actually lose this war as well, but that's besides the point. I do check the bans. Titania is banned again, as she probably will be for the rest of the season, and then blacklisted next season. We do have a Morbius on our path, which was a pretty interesting play. I am not on the boss island as as usual, but I am on one of the shared minis. I do take the one I open Corg. It is a pretty quick war for me, as you can tell by the length of the video. Pretty much my my quickest war, but it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm out of items and my battle group's kind of taking the slack for me, so I can build them up because I just was having bad wars with this meta. It wasn't really integrating with it well, especially not having Titania. But and Sandman was working, but not working. He was kind of screwing me sometimes. So my alliance member offered the option, like, why don't I use Quicksilver, because he uses him all the time, and I had to give it a try because he's a rank 5, and I'm just kind of not using him. First up, we do have a Morbius, which was pretty interesting because wasn't too familiar with how he played. I didn't really play with him as soon as I got the 7-star. But I know about, I dueled him a couple times to kind of learn what he's doing. The first thing you want to do against him is to bait out that psionic glide. We do not want to get hit with that. That is also why I popped my last invulnerability boost. Part of it is confidence that I won't get hit on my other fights, but a lot of it has to do with I don't want to get hit with that medium that has plus over 10,000 attack. It was not something ideal for me. So I am going to be trying to bait the SP1 and the Psionic Glide at the same time. I know that the SP1 or the SP2, you can pretty much punish both, but he is pretty SP1 happy, so there really isn't much to it. Now, most of you know how to play Quicksilver, but I am learning him now. He's pretty fun. I watched a bunch of videos. A lot of my Alliance members sent me videos on how to use him. I watched a couple tutorials. And I'm going to be dashing back a lot during the super animations to build up my momentum. I threw that SP1. I'm going to be trying to land the heavy as I land it right here. And then I'm pretty much going to be spamming back during specials to build up my momentum to throw that SP2. You see here, I do refresh them again. I'm going to try to gain maximum momentum here. And then I kind of screw up here. I do get hit, but because of the invulnerability, we're okay. I retaliate with an SP2, and that should double them, and then they'll explode, and pretty much we have a dead Morbius, 121k burst. I'm feeling pretty good with him. I tried to avoid him for so long. My Alliance member kept telling me, please, just try him, use him, and I hated it. I hated every second of it. Everyone in my battle group uses him. But after using him, I like him. He's actually pretty good. So I am happy that it's working out now. I could say I want to comfortably say that I got my mojo back, but I don't want to put that pressure on him next war. So we'll wait for the next couple wars to see if he really is helping me out. Now with Wong, he is a global defender, which makes Quicksilver 10 times better. He pretty much decimates anyone who is the global. So I'm going to be trying to bait the SP1 here. Don't really want to deal with anything else. Just like Chavez, Wong is one of those people that when he gets Delta Wither, he tries to get rid of it. So I do self-detonate the Whiplashes to get a good chunk of damage, and I do retaliate the SP1 with a heavy to try to gain momentum. So you see here, I do throw the SP1 into his heavy just because he has the slow, so there is no unstoppable. And also, it gives me a better chance of getting to the SP2 while I build up more Whiplashes. So you see here, I'm pretty much just cruising right along, keep refreshing them. When he throws that SP1, I am going to be spamming backdash to hopefully get momentum. He is not throwing this SP1, though. He does do this for a while, just constantly dashing in at me. I was like, I guess this is really happening. He does throw it right here, though, which I was happy about. Going to try to hit him to get some space in. Constantly refreshing the Whiplashes. Don't want to use them until I have Terminal. We just hit Terminal, so I am happy about that. And I'm going to self-detonate, throw the SP2, big burst, 100k burst, because it is doubled against Mystics. So it is actually 30 becomes 60, and 50 is 100. So absolutely decimates Mystics. Next up, we do have a Wiccan, another global. He won't take any incinerate damage because of the global, and Wiccan has no health. So pretty much, it's an easy fight. Nothing much to it. In my head, I'm like, okay, this is a good test war to see how Quicksilver works. Not too many fights for him, and I can kind of see how he works. I mean, I know how to use him, but I just chose not to because I didn't like him too much. Gonna be baiting the SP1 here, trying to gain momentum during the super animation just to get a little more stuff to it. I am gonna want to get this heavy out though, like we just get right now. And the weirdest thing about that was I don't know if he's immune. I don't think he's immune to nullify, but I was able to get the Fury while I was neutralized, which is an interesting thing because that's not usually how it works. Maybe it was because it was a debuff neutralize and not the passive, but that beats me. We are able to dash back like 4 or 5 times during his SP1 animation, so we do get a lot. I do reapply the heavy so I can gain my momentum faster. Trying to bait the SP1 so I can dash back a bunch of times. And I'm going to be doing the big burst damage. Don't want to throw that SP2 yet until I have momentum, and just like that. And that was the weirdest interaction that I'm still not familiar with. You can't like Dex and then throw his special, which was a little weird to me. So I do self-detonate them, and just like that, 69,000 bursts. Pretty good, actually. And then here, which I was so excited about, it was an EMP Doom, which I was happy about because it was a fight that I didn't need to use Quicksilver for, so I didn't have to be nervous about. I brought Venom Pool specifically for this fight. He is shock immune against Tex, so he can take EMP. I tested it like seasons ago. And this fight is very self-explanatory. Just take your time with it. The Rise to Power node, the one that every time a buff ends, they do get 8% of a bar. It is something that you have to deal with. It's not too bad, though. Besides the placebo buffs, most of Venom Pool's buffs are permanent until you get to the very end. But if by the time you get to the end, you should be fully ramped up, not really having to worry about anything else. Do dex that SP1 perfectly. I do prefer the SP2, but I can dex both. Because the SP2 is just kind of easier. It's just kind of dashing back a bunch of times and just dexing the last hit. Kind of like Purgatory's SP2. So you see here, we are baiting the SP2 because I don't want to deal with... I don't want to get too aggressive and then possibly get placebo buffs. The fact that his buffs are permanent is huge for us. Like the Path 2 guy, I believe in BG3, was going to use Venom Pool. Not Venom Pool, Hulkling. And his problem was that the buffs are going to end and then it's going to have too much power. So there's nothing really bad about that, just kind of having to watch it. The good news is with Venom Pool, you don't really have to watch the power gain because a lot of his buffs are permanent, besides the placebos. I mean, Doom doesn't really have a way of nullifying or anything, so it's not like the buffs are going to end premature. As you can see here, I'm pretty much building all my stuff up. He is at 41% health, so I will be building to the SP3 because I don't want to possibly throw an SP1 and not be able to get to it in time. I'm going to throw the Venom Relic, which increases bleed vulnerability, increases the amount of damage that an opponent takes while they're bleeding or from a bleed. And then I do use the Relic Stun to hit with a Heavy, which gives a Vicious buff, which increases the potency of damage over time effects by, I believe, 50%. And then with being able to pause it, as you can see, that is it's almost a 3,700 bleed, which I can pause, which is literally destroying the regen slowly. I think it's doing like 300 more damage than the bleed. So I do pause it again and just watch him melt away. And I was so happy about that because I haven't used Venom Pool in so long. And it was so nice to show him off. Last fight of the war is a one-eye open Corg. Nothing much to him. I've taken Corg a bunch of times with Diablo. Wasn't really too worried about it. The only thing I guess I was worried about was the fact of like if I accidentally dex twice when he doesn't have a special and I have to deal with him being unstoppable and unblockable, which turns into a mess. I do use the nullify pre-fight and I do check to see if it's on so that the glitch doesn't happen where there isn't a pre-fight. I do use the combat regen because I'm going to be eating a lot of block damage. It's not really that big of a deal because Diablo does heal, but I do also only throw one SP1 then cancel it to gain a vial to hopefully like negate some of the damage that using a pre-fight does. It does use 2 vials, so if I do gain one, it's a little bit better than what it would have been if I didn't. So what I do is I do throw the SP1 and then cancel the animation to gain a vial, and then I pretty much just rush right to an SP3. Also, I realized that the only way I'm going to knock him down is from specials, so I do take my time with that. Do have 5 vials here. He is out of his rock shield, so he's taking more damage. The only problem is when he purifies the poisons. It's not a big deal. Baiting with Corg is very easy. If he's unstoppable and unblockable, he does throw every special he has. It's just like an aggressive part of the AI. So there really is nothing else to it. I am going to parry heavy here, though, to get him out before I throw the SP3. Because I didn't want to deal with the possibility of, like, him taking no damage from the SP3. So I'm just kind of waiting out the rock shield. Going to be parry heavying to knock him down. Do take 23 damage. So, you know, that is a little bit of damage that I don't want to take, but it's not really that big of a deal. Considering every super gives you whatever it's called, the purple flask one. So I am going to be healing from that alone, not even from a regen. So you see here, I am regenning 98. Philosopher's Mix. And with that, we do have all of these poisons just ticking away at him. He does have the node when he gains 4 buffs, though. He is nullify immune, so we do have to wait for that to go away. And as you can see here, I'm going to be throwing one special, and I'm going to gain like 2 bars. So as you can see here, they all 10 buffs ended at the same time, and I almost got 3 bars from it. It was crazy, but obviously we already threw the SP3, so we don't get to do it again. Big burst damage, 30k burst from the SP2. Feeling pretty good, taking our time, don't want to mess anything up. Get rid of the rock shield again. I'm going to be trying to get to that SP2 again. The burst does negate a lot of the protection. It still protects most of it, but it does surpass it a little bit. So I am going to be kind of just baiting the SP2, taking my time here. In my head, I'm like, all right, I already have this war over. I'm so happy that that Quicksilver ended up winning it for me. Do throw the SP2, big burst, 25k burst, and just like that, my war is over. I'm sorry it's a slower video than what it usually is. Like I said, I do have to save items, but I am happy that we have found a new answer to this hard meta. Probably the hardest meta I've ever had. Because I usually am able to just like kind of throw Titania at stuff, but I am having a good time with the meta now with Quicksilver, so I am happy that I found a solution. I'm happy that I don't have to take too many fights now, but overall, I'm having a great time. The wars are pretty good. I can't wait for the season to be over. That is for sure. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all on the next one.